Hey everyone, welcome and thank you so much for being here with me today. I am honored and it is my joy, my pleasure, and my life purpose. I was hearing natural calling, so I'm going to use that too. It is my natural calling to be a spirit guide, a messenger, and a receiver as well of messages from spirit. As I was meditating this morning and praying over whatever message Spirit has today for all of us, it felt very deep, emotional, water energy. Could be, if you're a Cancer sign, this could resonate a lot with you. Or maybe you have Cancer in your chart, or maybe this will resonate with you, whatever sign you are. But as I was meditating, I was seeing a path opening up, and I was really feeling as if that was an inner energy clearing the way for your spiritual journey. For some of you, you are coming back into a calling that you've gotten away from in the past, in the most recent past. And it feels like maybe you have this draw and this need to be closer to your divine creator, to your spiritual gifts. I know that we all have things in our lives that take us from, kind of steer us in a different direction. And that gift, whatever it is that you have, or gifts, it's always there, always within you, always yours, divinely created for you to administer the truth of whatever your calling is. And it feels very connected to spiritual, I'm just going to say it as it comes in, awakening that you're going to have, or that you are having now. It feels like you're on a roller coaster of emotions. And I referenced this character, what was his name? Rush? I think it was Rush. Or Crash. I think it was Rush, the turtle from Finding Nemo. And he just was happy. You know, he wanted to ride the currents. And it was, as I watched that movie with my kids at the time when they were kids, I was just feeling that rush of freedom, movement, being in that sort of vortex of perfect alignment with yourself, with your divine creator, within your calling. And that's what this energy feels like that's coming in today for all of us. It feels like this energy is very freeing. It is spiritual. For some of you, it's prophetic. It feels like whatever calling this is for all of you, all of us, it's deep. I feel a very real sense of, I feel animal energy here too. A sense of the spirit animal, the horse, okay, running freely in nature, not worrying about next week, next month, next year, not worrying about the right lover, not worrying about what this one thinks, what that one thinks, whatever. This is a sense of freedom, guys. It's freedom to, within yourself, to free something so you can do your spiritual calling That's what this feels. This message, for some of you, you may not be as spiritual. You may not be. Maybe you're just kind of learning and you're growing into your spirituality, right? If you're here and you're listening, this message is for you. And some parts of it might be, some parts might not be. But whatever it is, take it and appreciate it for what it is, okay? I'm going to look at the Sacred Spirit reading cards and the Sacred Forest reading cards, okay? Let me start shuffling these Sacred Spirit reading cards. It feels very uplifting, whatever this is that's coming in. You're going on a journey. Ooh, thank you. Almost dropped the whole deck. Okay. You're going on a spiritual journey, and it is very uplifting and rewarding for you. For those of you who are spiritually in tune, it is very interesting what's coming. I'm hearing coming along for the ride, okay? Because on this journey, there are people in our lives that share in our spiritual beliefs. They share in the energy that is we put forth, right? In a very wholesome way, a good way, a spiritual way. And then we have those in our lives that are not. And they want to understand, but they're not quite there. And it's okay, because they are on a journey too, of learning, of watching you, of wanting to appreciate their own spirituality, their spiritual energy, but they don't quite know how. And so I feel like for some of you, you are on a journey of mentorship, spiritual guide, a journey you've already been and you don't even know it. You've already been doing this, but you're as above, so below. Your body, mind, spirit hasn't been aligned because there's things that have happened. In my life, yes, I've had a tragedy that's beyond words. I can't even tell you. I could not put it into words, the experience that I have had and am currently experiencing with tragedy in my life. And it didn't stop me from doing my spiritual calling. However, it affected so much of my life. And sometimes things happen that sort of derail us. But it's in these what I call points of light, right? What I was seeing this morning in my meditation was actually points of light, and Spirit was saying points of light, people, experiences, places, things, anything that crosses your path where it impacts you, it affects you, it's a learning experience, is a point of light on this journey in our spiritual path and our physical path. And so as I shuffled and this card fell out, living light energy, seeing the beauty in life. So this card here, guys, as I look at it looks like a tree with a bunch of branches, and I see the light, the purification, and I see so many branches. It takes, how do I say it? Well, it takes a village, if you've ever heard that. But with trees, they branch out. There's many branches, there's many leaves, there's many things that help this tree to thrive, okay? It all works hand in hand. The leaves, the branches, the tree, the ground, the earth, the sky, the sun. It all takes part in this tree's growth. And I feel like that tree represents us, our spiritual energy, that eternal, everlasting energy that goes on and on. And it feels very cyclical, like there's always cycles. There's with every season, a tree loses its leaves, most trees. And then they're reborn, or brand new leaves come in at the change of the season in the spring. It's actually so uplifting to see buds forming in the spring. And you know that it's a matter of time before they burst into life, into these beautiful leaves, giving, providing, assisting in oxygenating, if that's a word, oxygen for the earth, for all of us. This is who we are. We are that tree that is grounded. We are that tree that moves and grows each season. We are the tree that accepts the sun. We are the tree that accepts the rain for growth. We are planted firmly within our soul, within ourselves. It feels like this energy, this growth that is coming in for all of us. It's a permanent increase in faith, an increase in spiritual knowledge. It is an increase in, it is a maturity, and it is beautiful. When I painted this turtle, I was thinking and feeling into the beautiful shell. When you see a turtle, it is so protected. Its inner being is protected by this shell. They'll emerge, they'll go into, retrieve into their shell to protect themselves. But that shell is our spiritual strength. It is our protection. And when we are on this spiritual journey, on this spiritual quest, on this intention to learn and grow, we are protected. We are given many gifts when we are created. The gift of intelligence to know, make decisions, to know when something's safe and when it's not. That shell of protection feels like it is a blessing. It is oneness with your spiritual likeness to your divine creator. That's what this, I'm just saying what comes in. If it makes sense, good. If not, that's okay. But guys, we are on this journey. On this sometimes stillness, sometimes flowing with the current. Sometimes it's slow, sometimes it's fast. But it is very spiritual and very blessed. And I am seeing, for some reason I'm seeing, maybe because it was just Easter, but eggs, a bunch of eggs in a basket. And so Spirit is saying, you know that phrase, don't put all your eggs in one basket? I can't remember if that's it. what the gist of this is Spirit is saying, there are many experiences along the way. They're not all the same. They're meant to be different because we are meant to experience things in our path to aid us in our future. And not just this life, but other lifetimes. We learn in one life so we can move on and learn something new in another life. It's very interesting, this whole spiritual journey, because we are such, this is an interesting statement, we are such a big part of the spiritual energy in our path, but also in the way it affects the dynamic and the world around us. I'm seeing this from the Sacred Forest Oracle deck, the Dragon Power. It caught my eye. It was on the bottom of the deck. Dragons, if you think about a dragon, it's fierce, right? You think of fierceness, like, oh, you don't want to run into even their fairy tale, but you wouldn't want to run into a dragon because you'd be afraid, right? Because they're big, they're fierce. In fairy tales, they defeat their enemies with fire. And fire that comes through their mouth or nose or nostrils or whatever it is. I'm not really sure. But guys, we are this fierce energy with this dragon power. That's what I feel. This dragon power here. We're coming into a humongous power that we aren't even aware that we have sometimes. And it is a spiritual power. It is some of you are going to be very powerful in terms of distance healing in regards to prayer and focusing on healing of different events that happen in the world, around the world. And it feels like some of you are coming into this interesting calling that is more of a distance healer, right? And you can see, this is what's happened to me. I could see things that have happened. I saw the Mexico City earthquake 2 weeks before it happened. I saw and heard people calling out for help. I saw the ground split open. And I knew I had to pray. And I knew I had to send that healing energy ahead of time. And so a lot of you will be in that kind of energy where you're going to be distance healers. You will see, you'll have the power of, some people call it psychic. I call it spiritual intuitiveness. You will have that, you will know. And sometimes in the beginning you might feel like it's a burden because it's a lot of energy that is coming through you, to you. And then you're how do I say it? You're putting out there a lot of energy for healing. It takes a lot. And it takes a commitment to own it, to accept it, and to be that healer. I've seen a lot of things in my visions. I don't talk about it. I don't boast about my gifts, but I appreciate them. And I know that for a lot of you, you're going to be in that place where you will be in a receiving energy, receiving, accepting, acknowledging your gifts and being open. I saw that path opening up within ourselves. Know that this is coming. Know that you are called to be some sort of on a spiritual mission, a calling. This spiritual energy is opening up. And if you've had these gifts, but they've been dormant, they're coming to life. They're coming to life. Look at this tree. Look how much it bursts into a beautiful white light. It's a spiritual, blessed calling. This calling requires a clearing. And so what I was coming in is spatial clearing. And the energy that's being worked inside of you, it is making way, triggering a clearing and movement to facilitate change in regards to your spiritual calling. Now, some of you may feel that you don't have a calling, but I disagree. I feel like everyone has a calling in some way, shape, or form, right? If you look at doctors, physical doctors, for instance, not everyone can be a doctor. They're called to be a doctor because they have certain skills and talents, and they have a desire to heal people and to be in the medical profession. It takes a lot of dedication to go through that training, to go through that education and expense to get to that place where they have made it to become a doctor. It is a very deep conviction, the energy that is here. For some of you, the conviction is, it almost feels like it weighs on you, but not in a negative way, in a very spiritual way, in a very loving way. And that determination, I'm going to say Aries energy here, not that you're an Aries, but that Aries energy that you won't be defeated. That get up and go, go, go until it's completed, right? That's what I'm hearing. That's what I'm saying. And I feel like these sacred forests, these cards, the Sacred Forest Oracle, it feels very deep, right? Like I've always been mesmerized by the forest. I've always been mesmerized by what's in the forest that we can't see, right? What little animals are in there that we don't know about because they don't want to come out when humans are around. I always feel like we're invading their world when we take a stroll through the forest. Though it's not to say we should never go through the forest. I'm saying that's their environment. That's where they live, right? But not just that. It's animals, flowers, it's trees, all the different types of trees. There's so many different variations in the forest that make up this amazing mass area of what do you call it, sort of a melting pot of different natural things, right? And so it feels like for us, we are all on our own journey, our own path. However, our energy is shared to help us on that journey. So that's why I say we're on this journey together on our own individual paths. And as I shuffle these Sacred Forest cards, I feel a very interesting energy in the bee, right? The bee spirit comes out. The bee spirit comes through. They know where to get their sustenance. They know. It's interesting because animals and any animal in nature, and winged creatures and bees and whatever, they all know with their natural instincts where to find food. They know how to exist, and to their life is about finding their next meal. Sometimes it depends on the animal, but this bee spirit comes in to remind us that prosperity is everywhere. It's everywhere. Bees, I can only imagine when they do what they do. And I don't really know, so forgive me if I'm wrong, but to me, I think that they, part of that sustenance is maybe, is it nectar or is that birds? I don't know. The point is that in the spring and summer, there's deliciousness in flowers for bees, right? So if you think about it, there's flowers in so many places. And so bees have a plethora of places where they can eat. And so that's what it feels like here. Spirit is trying to say, there's so much prosperity around you, but your eyes aren't not open because you've been sort of blinded by the negativity of the human energy around you, around your environment, around the world, right? In the air. And it's like, how do we break free of that? I always come back to the what is it, monks, or the people that train in Tibet to they're always working on their inner spirit, their energy, right? They're training and how to let the world go by and yet protect their own energy because they've practiced letting the world go by around them so they're not affected by everyone else's energy. It's a purity thing. That's what it feels like to me. And so for us, it feels like we have been in practice of learning from other situations, people, things, places, whatever it is, experiences leading up to this, so that now we can go forward in whatever calling this is or in our path, and know how to handle things better now. We've grown from, as a baby, babies don't know how to talk, so they cry for attention, for what they need. I'm hungry. I've changed my diaper. I want to be held. I want to be loved. Whatever the case is. And as we grow older from that state of being a baby, you can't talk. Then you find ways to communicate. It's just human nature. And then later on, we find our voice, right? We find our voice and we know how to tell our caretaker, our mother or father, whoever's caring for us, what we need, what we want. And so Spirit is saying, don't come down on yourself for being unaware of what your needs are, what your soul needs. Don't come down on yourself for that. Make sure that you know that every step in this path, in this journey, is a learning experience. It is the experiences along the way are stepping stones to bring us to this place where we belong. I want you to know, guys, that the reason why balance is brought into these messages so often, it's because I know for myself, I can easily get immersed in I can get immersed in readings and and my spiritual, my spiritual energy, I can get really engrossed in that. But then I have a tendency to neglect other things, and that's not the way we're supposed to do this. And this is what I'm hearing, this is what I feel from Spirit. We are supposed to be in balance, and we are supposed to know that as we grow spiritually, that time that we spend becomes more about quality time than quantity. And our life balances out, where we have our time to ourselves. We have our time with our divine creator. We have time to work on our inner light, our inner voice, our inner strength. And we split that time between our spiritual, the time we set aside for spiritual growth. So we have to balance that between that and our home life, with our family, with our work, whatever we do career-wise. It all has to balance out, because we are to be like as above, so below, in balance. We're not going to always be in perfect balance, but we strive for that balance. And that's where Spirit says that's where you prosper spiritually, internally. And it sort of extends to the outside, right? Your inner and outer, as above, so below. And so I feel that today this message is all about, yes, acknowledging how far we've come, and knowing that there's so much more to go in our spiritual journeys. And it feels very blessed, because Spirit says you're moving like you're supposed to. You've learned from experiences. Yes, it takes time to understand and grow sometimes, especially when you go through things that are really, they hit you hard. And Spirit says that's where it's like tightening of using a wrench to tighten a screw, right? Sort of closing the gap between anything that was from the past that can affect you negatively. And it sort of feels like that. For those of you who are not into your spirituality, or you're just here because you're inquisitive, there's something for you that will be revealed, either intuitively, or it could be a dream. It could be just something that sort of awakens you, and I was hearing snaps you out of it. Yeah. So here, okay, so there, in shuffling these sacred spirit cards, there was a card in here that was out of order. It was not meant to be in this deck, or maybe it was, so I could find it, right? You are opening up a beautiful gift from your divine creator. And I think you will be surprised in some ways. Because if you look at this woman here, she's wearing a crown. But she's opening up this box, or this container, where to me it looks like fairies or some sort of energetic beings that were being held in that container until she lifted the top. That's what I feel our spiritual energy is. I feel like our spiritual calling has been sort of hidden, and it's been, I feel like our souls have been sort of knocking on our door saying, hey, there's something here. There's something so much greater within you than you realize. And so when she opened up the top, look how they're so bright and beautiful. They're glowing. I feel like this is an opportunity for us to allow whatever this is to come forward, so we can sort of start a new path, so to speak. Not so much, board up the house, we're moving to the hills. Not like that, but it's an energy that is, it could come upon you very fast. And it's an energy that is, I know I have to do this. I have to do this. And so you work on your new chapter, your new beginning, right? Because this is something I think you're going to find that is more, you're going to find that your intuitive is sharper. Some of you may have premonitions, you may have visions. They might be more vivid, and it feels like you're, some of you may even start using your hands more, as in Reiki healer or some kind of healer. And like I said before, for some of you, you could start to be I feel like a practitioner. So I'm hearing that word, so practitioner of something. All in all, this energy is a calling for sure. And so it feels like, with this card that popped out of the Sacred Spirit reading cards, this card here, it almost feels like your fire, your energy, your spirituality, whatever you want to call it, is burning through the darkness. That calling, that energy is sort of exposing what needs to be left behind, illuminating the shadow. And it's like this, whatever this is, however your divine creator is calling you, whatever your soul is reminding you that you're here to do. I feel like for some of you, this comes through huge. It's this huge calling, and it's like you just know, this is what I was here to do. This is what I'm here to do. I needed to learn along the way. I needed those stepping stones along the way to get to where I am. I think we need to do one or two more cards, and then I feel like this will be the close of the reading. You guys, there is something sacred deep, and it goes deep, deep roots within all of us, right? I don't know if you've ever been to Disney World, but I think it's Magic Kingdom, where they have the Tree of Life, or it could be, I don't know which park, but it's one of the Disney parks. The tree is so huge. It's obviously fabricated, but at least I think so. But it's a symbol of how our life goes on. Spirituality, our spirit goes on, our energy goes on. It's a symbol of strength. It's that when you see a tree like that, that's huge like that, you can't help but be overwhelmed by the vastness of, and the, you think tree, you think solid, it's solid, right? You can't help but think that that's what this energy is for all of us, our strength. The one thing that we know, okay, so you know that phrase that people use, the only certain things in life are death and taxes? The constant here, as a reminder with this tree, the ancient oak spirit card, is our soul, our energy that goes on and on and on. And we are meant to flow with changes. We are meant to flow with the process. It's not easy to be in this spirit versus human sort of existence sometimes, because my son, when he was growing up, had severe growing pains. I mean, to the point where he was in so much pain. His legs, he ended up being 6'4". So he was a big guy, big kid, big baby, lots of growing pains. But it reminds me of how we as human beings and spiritual beings, sometimes it's painful, growing pains, but they go away eventually. Sometimes that's part of the process. I'm not saying that's always the process where we have to be in misery. It's not. But those experiences that are painful lead us to new experiences with a newfound energy, with a strength that we didn't know we had. And so I feel like this, the truth card comes out here, and it feels like this is our truth, guys. This is who we are. We're strong. We're beautiful beings of light and energy that has a purpose here. So if you've been thinking or feeling like, what am I doing here? I don't know what I'm supposed to be doing. I'm so tired of not knowing where to go next. You have to take your focus off of not knowing, because there are so many avenues for growth that, what's that phrase? The world is your oyster. And we are the pearls. So it's time to open up and move into a more spiritual space in your life. That's what this feels like. And I'm not saying you have to, just know that this is spirit coming through. And for some of you, it is going to hit home. For some of you, you're not sure yet, but you will be. Okay? I just want to say that it's super important to understand that we are lovable and forgivable. You can forgive yourself if you took some liberties, made some decisions that you feel weren't the best, or you feel that maybe I shouldn't have made that decision because now I'm stagnated. I don't know what to do next. That's wrong. That's not the case. What I feel here is that you made that decision or made that turn somewhere along the way because you were guided to. And you didn't understand and you didn't see the full effect that this would cause. Or you expected something else. But Spirit says, let it go. Because you can't focus on, why did I do that? Why did I do that? I don't know what to do. No. Focus on yourself as being a compass. And know that when you calm those thoughts and those energies, you make room for healthier thoughts and energies, and for hope, and for positivity, for knowing that once you clear those thoughts, you will see where you are going. You will see your strength. It's like you'll open your eyes for the first time and know that you are worthy of trusting yourself, okay? I'm going to end this now because it's been a little bit since we started this reading. I'll end it with this card, Miracles. Guys, if you see butterflies and you see, rainbows and things like that, it is a sure sign okay? It is a sign that it is a reminder that you are a miracle. And butterflies morph from caterpillars, right? And they come out of their cocoon at some point in time, and this is you, emerging as a beautiful butterfly, miraculous. We don't know what's ahead years from now. We can't give every detail of what's going to happen. However, the constant here is that you're secure in your faith. Okay? You are your own compass. And your guides are here with you to help you. I hope you have enjoyed this reading. I hope it has resonated. And until next time, everyone, stay in your light. Stay in your lane. And know that you are loved. Namaste.